And welcome to Trauma Y and Crash. I'm Y.
And I'm Crash.
And today we're going to give another update on the COVID vaccines. I am at day 5 post my second vaccination. And for me, the only thing I had some back pain. I had muscle pain, very little fatigue. I had more fatigue on the first one. So I have no complaints. Nothing that really slowed me down. The first one, you could tell my back hurt by the way I moved and walked and things like that. But this time, nothing. Everything's been great. Like I said, little soreness.
Because everybody at the hospital the second day put them down.
Yeah, I know most people were down, and I was expecting it, but I was lucky. But even the first one, I never really. My back, I was having a lot of muscle pain, but that was it. I was a little fatigued that one day. The second day, I think I laid in the bed longer than I usually do. But besides that, I haven't had any other side effects.
Okay, one of the few.
Yep. So I'm very lucky. I was very lucky with that. But even if I would have had more aches and things like that, it probably would have been. I would have been okay with it, considering what the other options are. So,
I will say, if you're going to get the second shot, and you haven't done it, do not go to work the next day. Please take 1 or 2 days off because you will not want to be at work.
Yeah, I would tell people if you can do Thursday or Friday, especially if you could do Friday. Friday is the best day to get a vaccination because then you got Saturday and Sunday to recover, and you don't have to worry about taking it off. I do know that some facilities will give you a vaccination day. If I'm not mistaken, the VA, their employees get a day.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, I like to be. I'm a veteran, so
Yeah, hospitals aren't so generous depending on where you work.
True. And I don't know. We have to double check because it might be there and they just ain't really told you.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, because I could see them thinking, well, if we tell them, everybody's just going to take it off anyway. Especially if you can get it off with pay. See, look at you, your presidency. So when you're looking at that, what are you going to do? You going to tell them or you just going to wait and see? And then for the ones who call in, just pay them.
That goes for docs too. So I know a couple of docs that came in and like they were dragging pretty bad.
I know a group of pulmonologists that they all were struggled with it. Yeah, and so like everybody was telling me that. So I was prepared, but I was good to go. So the other thing that's interesting is now I'm keeping up with the vaccines, and out of all the vaccines that they have put out in Ohio, we're running about two-thirds of the vaccinations we have received have been given. So when I looked at the numbers, I was disappointed because we were behind, because I would have thought we would be more at the forefront. So we're running about 66%, 2/3 ish, but then you look at places like Florida. Florida has given about 4.3 million, or has received 4.3 million vaccines, and they've given 3.5.
Oh, that's shocking when they were behind to begin with.
Right. So they've really come on like gangbusters. Now, that's one of the best rates for high volume states. Now, like New Mexico, West Virginia. I think West Virginia got 380,000 vaccines, and they've given 370,000, something like that. Those numbers are really similar. So they're like in the 90th percentile, but it's nowhere near. I mean, they haven't given 1 million doses. So I'm not as shocked that they were able to do that. But Florida, I was really, really concerned, but I wonder what New York's doing. Let me look at New York real quick.
I wonder what the population of Virginia is.
Now, New Jersey has done good. They've received 1.7 million vaccines and given 1.3. And New York has received 3.9 million vaccines, and they have already administered 2.9. So they're pretty good.
Yeah, that's very good for New York.
They're in the, there's like three, if you go to the CDC website and you look at it, they have three different tiers, three different colors. Your dark blue are the ones who are like almost like 90th percentile. They've given about 90% of their doses. And then you have like a blue green. And when you look at the blue green, they've given it's probably around 80%. And then everybody else, for the most part, looks to be running about 2/3. I can bring it over here and see if you can see that. Okay, there's a look at the map, and you can see what's going on with it. But Ohio's kind of, we're lumped into the bottom group. But I would have thought we would have been a little better off than that. But
Hawaii's in the blue. Hey.
Yeah, I mean, smaller populations. Hawaii, New Mexico, and West Virginia are the ones who crushed it. But, if you only have 15 people in your state, you give each other your vaccine and you're done.
I wonder, but being that Hawaii's an island, how did they get their vaccines over there and do so well? Or where the mainland? Well, I'll say mainland. And we do.
But this delivery, they just flew them out. And in some ways, they probably were better off weather-wise because everybody else is getting this weather, and snow and ice has really hit us. They fine.
That's true.
They land on the beach in Hawaii tracking their vaccines. Ooh. Did you see Houston? Houston had its coldest temperature in 122 years today. The wind chill was almost 0.
Yeah, I saw the accident when they had all them cars and trucks piled up from an ice storm. I was amazed that anybody survived.
Yeah, and a lot of people did. But the thing is, in a lot of those, once it starts, it's like bumper cars.
Yeah.
The first few when they flying, that's when you worry about. But then after that, everybody else is like bumper cars. You sitting there and somebody slides and bumps into you, So you get banged around, but not too many people had serious injuries. I was really shocked. Because I think we had more serious injuries this morning in Columbus, Ohio, with the weather, because there was accidents all over the city.
People don't know how to drive in Columbus. Like Cleveland, you know how to drive in the snow and ice. You don't drive on ice. Yeah, but in Columbus, I don't think they got that concept. If someone believes if you got a 4-wheel drive, you can drive on ice. No, you can't.
Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, Tokyo Drift all over on the side of walking to a tree. That's what you're going to Tokyo Drift.
And that's exactly what happens. You're right. But, probably that's exactly what they look like. Tokyo Drift, just sliding and thinking they're doing something. But yeah, luckily, all I had to do is go to the office today.
Yeah,
so
we'll see. We'll get there when I get there.
Oh, they'll be waiting for you. They'll be happy to see you.
I'm sure.
Because you're going to be in the middle of the storm because it's supposed to get bad here this afternoon. So, and continue on. So by the time you get ready to go, take your time.
Hopefully they plow the streets, at least the main streets, I hope.
Yeah, it sounds like they've been out and they're going to continue to plow. So it's just a matter of how hard we get hit, if they can keep up. But vaccination-wise, any changes in your decision?
No, I'm thinking I'm going to go with the Johnson & Johnson. 1 shot and be done, since they had to look at it a little bit better. But like I said, I can't complain. Everyone that's taken Pfizer hasn't had any difficulties that I've seen, other than the tiredness and sickness for the second shot. Nobody's been critically ill. So, yeah.
Yeah, I am following. There's one nurse that they said died shortly after receiving it, but there's a lot of other stuff kind of going with that. So I'm waiting to see what that is. But You know, for the most part, everything looks good.
I'm
Everything looks good.
they have some people that take it and then have COVID. Now, did they have it prior to getting the shot, which most people say they didn't, or did they get the shot, which is kind of hard to
Well,
decide.
see, now I'm glad you brought that up because that's a really good point. Because, you know, people say that all the time. I got the flu shot a week ago, and now today I got the flu. The thing gave me the flu. No, it takes time. It has to develop in your system to be able to fight it off. So if you get exposed to COVID within the first 2 weeks of your second shot, you are not safe.
Could be, but there's a lot of folks just coming up COVID positive, but they're not getting sick. What I understand, not getting sick, just coming up positive.
Right. But see, now the question is, are they, you know, if they are exposed, you know, before the vaccination has been able to take full effect, you can still catch it. So, I mean, now if you have somebody a month out and then they turn up positive, I feel like that's different. But if it's close, because we see that all the time with the flu. I used to check folks in and they'd be mad because I just got the flu shot yesterday. And now I got the flu. I was positive for flu. Yeah, you got exposed before you got your shot. But you know, first thing everybody says is the shot gave me the flu.
Well, let's see how many more cases. Oh, you did see where this guy got reinfected with the African strain twice.
Well, you know, I'm not surprised because the first strain, you could catch it more than once. I know people that have dealt with it. I know people have dealt with it in New York. A friend of mine that's a charge nurse out in New York, she's dealt with many patients that she took care of in the very beginning when New York was getting hit, and then start seeing them in the fall coming back and they're COVID positive again. And then there was this, they're doing a study or talking about in Kansas City, there were like 343 people that have been diagnosed with COVID twice. So, you know, that's one of the concerns is if it mimics the flu and changes enough that you need a different vaccine, you know, that could quickly turn this into a way of life.
I think it's going to be just like the flu shot, get one every year.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, you know, what are you going to do? Because the thing is, you know, if it's affected the way it's affecting people, that's going to be hard, and it's going to change the infrastructure. Just think about how many healthcare workers, nurses and medics, LPNs that are needed to do vaccinations. And we're talking about you might have to do this every year.
You got to pay.
Yeah, but you got to find them.
I'm sure you find them.
You got to find them. Because I think they're paying. I mean, you look around, you look at some of the travel assignments some of these people are getting, they're paying.
Yeah, that's true. There's not enough of us to go around. And like I said, I believe when all this is said and done, it's going to be a lot less.
Yeah, it has definitely taken a toll. I talked to somebody this past weekend, mentoring, and they sound like they're done. You know, we went over some things. We had some really good discussions. And I think I gave them some good points to think about on, you know, what they can do to help with their burnout. Because they sound like they definitely were burning out and they need to try to make some decisions, you know, because you might not have to get out of the nursing field. I'm not saying get out of it, but sometimes you got to change your scenery.
Yeah. You don't do bedside, go from bedside to, I don't know about administration, but, you know, teaching or schools. I didn't know that you had to have so much more education just to be a school nurse. Like,
oh yeah, school nurses, you got to be on it because it's just you. You can't call for help. I mean, you call 911, but it's gonna be a minute.
It'll be all right till they get there. It's a nice
now.
In through your nose.
Here's what I can tell you, because I was at a school, because I go and I do trauma presentations at different high schools and talk to at-risk kids and just talk to new drivers and things like that. And while I was there, this one kid passed out, and somebody else saw blood, had a seizure, passed out. So you got two down.
Okay.
So, and then somebody in the scramble to move out the way, somebody else fell, another injury. So I got to see firsthand, for a school nurse, I mean, you could have a lot going on, or you could have it in multiple places.
Well, it's like triage. You take the sickest one first. I need some help.
Now, see, yeah, but it's easy for us to say when it ain't our kids.
Well,
we adults, we good. You got 4 people walking in, blood squirting out I triage that. I'll be all right. I'm good. But when you got kids, unless you worked in peds, it goes a little different. And you also got to remember who's there. But I got to work with them a lot because we did active shooter stuff, stop the bleed training. I went to a couple systems and we helped train the system. And one of the schools, actually this one school, I've been going there almost 20 years. They had a kid that ended up going through a window and he needed 2 tourniquets. Luckily they knew what they were doing. And they were one of the few systems that I know that pretty much their whole system, they went out and got it. There was a couple good ones that went out and they did their training. Athens school district, they went and they taught all their instructors. They brought them out right before school started and we went out there and trained everybody. Thomas or Worthington school system did the same thing, brought them in multiple times. We probably went in 4 or 5 times to make sure that all their staff got a chance to learn how to use tourniquets and things like that. So there's people out there actually who are very aggressive and knowing what to do. But yeah, they have a lot to know and do.
Yeah.
Especially because you're not just chilling at one school. You juggling multiple schools and you have to know about everybody's history. And
that's when you put a chip in them. Put a chip in them and you can scan it. Let's see what's wrong with you. All right. You're allergic to this.
Okay, see, that's Star Trek, man. You trying to get to the days of Star Trek. When that happens, they're gonna not need us.
Oh, they always gonna die.
You gonna die. Nothing we can do. Go sit down.
They'll always need us. McCoy. They had McCoy, even though they had the stuff, they still had McCoy.
Well, McCoy had nurses, yeah.
But thank you. They look like us, but he had not nurses. They were pretty nurses. He had a male nurse?
I never saw one. That'd have been very ahead of the time, though.
Well, it was supposed to be in the space. I mean,
yeah, but they were pushing it because they had what's her name?
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so yeah, school nurses they stay busy with that. That's definitely something. I'm not sure because you mentioned teaching. I don't know. I don't know if I would recommend someone who feels like they might be burnt out to teach.
It depends. I mean, if you have someone that's eager to learn and someone that wants to learn, it is kind of exciting to teach someone that's really wanting to learn and listen. Now, someone that isn't, you just it's just like you're wasting your day.
But see, that's where sometimes it's easy. It's easy to teach the people who want to learn and are soaking up everything you want. Part of being a good instructor is those people who are having a difficult time understanding how you can make the light turn on for them. And if you burnt out and you ain't feeling it, you ain't really trying, that could be, it depends on, if you really, really burnt out, you just got to be able to check that. Can I go in here and have a good attitude and work with my students and help make a difference in their lives, which is going to make a difference in other people's lives? I mean, because if you suck as an instructor, you can hurt a lot more people.
That's true. You know, you always got that one to know everything, even though they don't. It makes it hard on everybody else sometimes.
Yeah, but you know, being an instructor for quite a while, those are challenge. They might be a challenge, but that's one of the reasons why you get paid that money, to help check them. And sometimes you have to put them in positions where they don't know what they do. And I have had some really harsh conversations with, I wouldn't say harsh, I would say direct, to help make them understand that this is why you need. I remember I had one who was a fellow, and he just knew it all, everything. I know. You sure? And so we had a lot of stuff going on. It was like, and this patient's dying. Okay, what are we doing? You got this. What are we supposed to do? What do we need to do right now? And he froze. And I was like, you know, we're not trying to cut you down. We're trying to help show you why we're doing what we're doing. Because if you just rattle stuff off because you think you know this is what's supposed to be and you don't understand the whys, you're just going to get yourself in trouble. You just can't regurgitate nursing. Nursing is, you know, you have to think, critically think, and use your skills and assessments. So, and he did. You know what? We had that big heart to heart. It blew him away. And after that, he was great. And he was a great nurse.
Okay.
Yep. So, but yeah, there are other areas that people can go into, but still stay in nursing. You know, sometimes it's some matter of just getting out of that area. You know, if you were working in dialysis and you needed to get out and you wanted to go pre-op, you know, it just might be a little change of scenery.
You can also do research. I mean, that's another.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I feel like, you know, having an experience helps you when you're doing your research. But, you know, and the other thing is finding your niche, because I know people, they are great critical thinkers, but they hate dealing with people. And so, you know, they're better off in research and in informatics.
Yeah.
And working on the computers and learning how to write programs and things like that, because we need nurses out there doing that stuff, because that just helps us do our job better. Because if you have, and I'm not knocking engineers, because one of my best directors I ever worked for was an engineer, had no nursing background, but he understood process. But if you don't catch the process, if you don't really get it, it's hard to understand.
I don't know. Maybe I'll do research, something that comes to require 12 hours a day, maybe just 9 to 5.
Yeah, I mean, I love education. I would teach 24. I would teach full time. I would go back to teaching full time. Absolutely. I'm in my area now. Is it Trauma Bay where I love to be? Yep, absolutely. But, you know, I'd much rather do it more and more from a teaching standpoint and see how COVID works in the near future, because of the simulation labs, because these newer students and nurses who are graduating are not getting the reps. They're not learning how to take care of patients as well, because of what COVID has done. And I think we just need to figure out a good way to change some of the stuff we do, but make it more Sims based. Because I see in 5 years, I see us not really doing a whole lot with the patient in nursing school. Most of it being simulation based.
We shall see. It should be interesting in the next 10 to 15 years.
Yes, definitely. It'll definitely be interesting. So I don't know about 15. In 15, I want to see where they'll be, because I don't know if I'm still be working as a nurse in 15 years.
Let's see. You obviously didn't see that 90-year-old lady that still worked in pre-op, did you? 90-year-old nurse.
I don't know if they'll let me work in triage.
Well, she was in pre-op. She was just preparing stuff and putting stuff up. You know, they gotta do like 4 hours a day.
I'll be like, what'd you come in for? You came in for that? You have pinky toe pain, sir? Pinky toe pain. You know how we talk about back in my day, you walk 10 miles with pinky toe pain.
Gangrene, we cut it off. We just cut it off and kept going.
Yeah, that's outpatient, dude. But yeah, now teaching wise, I could, but I definitely don't see myself really. I definitely won't be working in an emergency department taking care of patients.
I don't know.
Because you 70 years old and you, how many compressions you think you're gonna be able to do?
Oh, I just chart, dude. I ain't gotta do compressions. I'm doing a chart.
You know, that's if you the second or third one in there. What happens if you the person? You can't be standing there on the computer when everybody walk in going, what's going on? He's coding. Who's doing compressions? Whoever came in next. You can't do that.
Hey, you come
gotta
here. Come here. Hey, you nurse, come here. Come here. Come in here.
You gotta start. So the question is, can you do 3? And you know what? If she might have did her, she might have been working, but did she really use a simulation lab and research on her CPR? Because you know you got to do compressions on that research.
She's a little spry little thing. She lasted 2 husbands, so I don't know. I wouldn't put anything past her.
I don't know. That's a lot of compressions to get through.
Let's see. I'm sure they gave her a break. They're like she gets like, you good. All right, you good.
All right. Well, I think that's about it. Do you have anything else?
Nah, I'm good.
All right. We will continue our COVID conversation as we watch and see how that goes. Please hit that subscribe, hit that like button, and we will continue to bring you the different things that you're looking for. We welcome all comments. And we're out.
See you in 15.
Did you stop it yet?